Welcome to the live stream of consciousness. The live stream of consciousness is on a quest to unravel the mysteries of existence. Every episode, we ask the fundamental question, what is consciousness? Is consciousness merely a product of our brains, or does it connect us to something greater? Explore the very fabric of our thoughts. Don't miss a moment. Expand your awareness and tap into the boundless potential that resides within you. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness.
Yes, welcome to the live stream of consciousness. That means it is Thursday. It is actually April 4th. It's the first week of April, the first show in April where we have actually slowed down time this year. I don't know if you guys have been watching. For those who have been watching, how does it feel to you? Am I crazy just because I intended to slow down time and take each week and enjoy it, or are you guys feeling that? I see Grace Grella out there. What's happening? Looking forward to the show. Always watching on both platforms. Thank you, Grace. I see Ninja Kitty. I see Hat Powser. What it is ascending fractal wonders. Nice. I love that. Welcome everybody to the live stream. What is the live stream of consciousness? It is a place of intention, right? I intended to be here. You intended to be here. Maybe it's a place of accident. Maybe you accidentally came across the replay. But there's a reason you're here checking it out. If you like it, give me a comment, subscribe if you haven't, comment on YouTube. All of those things help me grow this show, and that's what I'm looking to do. I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I just really enjoy it. I love bringing this stuff to you. It's a place where we all connect for a moment, right? Again, whether you're here live and it's intentionally, you've come to this place and you're here with me intentionally, that's the base energy, or you've just stumbled across it and you're checking it out. You're sharing the energy. So thank you for being here. And that's what the live stream is. I love to talk about things like consciousness. What is consciousness? And then I love to do that with all sorts of different people from different walks of life and metaphysical modalities and musicians and artists and people just like you. Ninja Kitty says her daughter got engaged on Easter. Congratulations, Ninja Kitty. Congratulations to your daughter and her future partner. Anyway, I'm excited. I have a pretty cool guest on tonight, an extraordinary healer who I know Janice and Grace have both experienced some very profound stuff. I had a great experience with her too. When I say profound, I mean experiencing something like actually physically feeling sensations and something that's like notably different when you leave the session. And those are always the impressive sessions for me. Her name is Debbie Frasca. She is an international healer known for her unique transformative approach. She's got a deep understanding of holistic connections between mind, body, and spirit. We all know those are the basic things that you need to have in order to function well, right? It says here, Debbie's methods have guided many towards profound healing and balance. And I just said that, right? I just said, I know some people who have actually experienced that. So join me in welcoming to the live stream of consciousness, Debbie Frasca. Welcome to the live stream.
Hi, Michael.
How you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. I just met you recently over the last couple of weeks, and my girlfriend Janice had an amazing session with you, which is what led to me meeting you. And Grace, our esteemed viewer and cheerleader, and
yes, we all love Grace.
Also through you. So welcome to the show. This is where I kind of start the conversation by talking about consciousness, like I was saying, but then it's really a place for me to hold space for you and for you to tell us all about what you do and your journey and how you got there, because it's somehow related to consciousness, I bet. So let me start by doing business. I always say that it's not really business, but it's just the thing I do here, and that is asking the question, what is consciousness? What are we talking about?
Yeah, so connecting to the other realms, to the other dimensions. I mean, we've been lied to that we can't do that. We're all born with this innate, the pineal gland is our antenna to the divine, and it's been calcified with fluoride and all sorts of things that they stop us from connecting. So it is our God-given right. We're all born. That's why kids see spirit. They have that invisible friend, or that they see spirit in animals too. And it's something that we don't use. If you don't use your arm your whole life, all of a sudden it'll atrophy. So if you don't use, we don't know that we can connect because we've never been told. So
Right.
there is so much out there that so many more people are opening up to this. 10, 20 years ago, everyone, this was the crazy people were connected,
Right.
hugging trees and out walking barefoot in the backyard. But it's more mainstream now. There's a crystal shop on just in every town just about now. I mean,
Right.
they're everywhere, and it's really interesting how the Great Awakening and the Ascension, everything is happening right now. It's really, we're connecting to another
Right.
realm.
Totally. And I agree with you. And also you made me think of this show. In fact, like the fact that people are going online and having these conversations and not worrying about calling each other crazy, right? Because this is, I always say, this is a safe space. There's like people, I've had the most amazing conversations about stuff that you just wouldn't hear in an elevator, people don't necessarily talk about. But like you said, there's a crystal shop in every town, tarot, and all of these different wonderful metaphysical modalities that are focusing on that connection that, like you said, we've been lied to, and all of these things. And it's funny that it's not funny, but it's interesting. I've been kind of navigating the connection between spirituality and critical thinking, right? Because there's definitely a connection, and I feel like part of spirituality is the idea that you create your own reality. So there's a big part of me that like I try to really take this show and I try to focus on the love that we can create and the things that we can intentionally be responsible for. And that's why I have people like you on the show who have dedicated their lives to healing and bringing light to an otherwise dark situation. Let's just say it. Let's just put it that way.
Yes. Yeah, we're definitely the creators of our own reality, and our thoughts are extremely powerful. If people knew how powerful our thoughts were, they would never think a negative thought again. That, oh, I'm so poor, I'm so fat, I'm never gonna have, like, the universe is like, oh, you want to be fat, poor, and we'll make that happen. Like
Mhm.
it's telepathic. That was our first language, telepathy. And when you think of somebody and you're all of a sudden they call you, you're like, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. Yeah,
Mhm.
because you
Mhm.
sent a message to them. Like, we always, oh, that's so weird, what a coincidence. No, it's not a
Right.
coincidence.
Right. It really is wonderful to be aware of those energies and feel connected to those energies, right?
Right.
And I think that's all related to what you do. I want to add, there's one more question I want to ask you, but there's actually a third one I want to ask, because I know for me today specifically, but very recently for a lot of people, the energy has just been all over the place. I mean, there's a lot of crazy energy going, good and bad and whatever, but very powerful and like undeniable. Let's put it that way, right? Undeniable energies where you're just like, wait, this feels different than my usual experience. So anyway, before I start going on tangents, let me ask you what I like to know, and this usually helps lead into opening the space for you, is if you have a memory or a specific story about when you realized there was more to the existence than what we've been told, or what is kind of presented on the surface.
It wasn't like a boom story. My whole life I was always loved mediums, and I'd get readings, and I'm like, I need to know more. I need to know more. And we incarnate, and we have no memory of our past lives and who we were, and we have to live this life and deal with things. So it was more, I was just like, you know, when they say, does it resonate with you? If you're interested in, you know, you want to go to a crystal store, you want to know more. And so that's like, for me, it was like a kind of slow thing. And I worked in offices and stuff. And I'm like, I am not sitting here for the rest of my life. I'm like, I know there's something more for me. I just don't know what it was. I mean, I said that years and years and years ago. I even remember seeing on TV, on TLC, there was a show, The Healer. And I'm like, I'm going to do that one day. Like, this was, I'm talking like 20 years. Like,
I think I remember that. Yeah, that
yeah.
sounds.
And I remember it saying it out loud, and I'm like, that was weird. Like, I'm like, I just thought it was so cool. And then just little things started happening, and just like I said, I wanted to know more and know more. And I actually took an angel course online. It was like, connect with your angels, and I'm like, all right, this is cool. And then she did some academy thing. I'm like, I need to know more about this. I have to do this. So I ended up doing it, and everybody that was there was a Reiki master, medium for all their whole lives. I'm like, I'm just here because I think it's cool. Like, you know,
right.
I didn't know at that point still who I was or what I was here to do. You know, I was just there because, and I, you know, we worked on ourselves. Like, so many people get this Reiki certification and they don't work on themselves first. Like, you really have to clean up your energy, your childhood trauma, your crap. I mean, I think I cried the whole month of November that year because I was just, we were intense releasing. And I had to clean up my stuff. And so then we started doing partner work, and I created my little script, if you will. And I do it. And I'm like, did you feel anything? They're like, oh my God. But I'm like, what, you did? You're kidding, right? So then I'd work on another person, the same thing. I'm like, what is going on? Like, it came so naturally to me, and people were just feeling crazy things. And to this day, when people work on me, I don't feel anything. Just like when you like, I'm like, I know it's working because I know what I do with people.
Right.
I think it's to protect me, even because if I felt everyone's emotions, like, even when you said the ascension stuff, like, I'm not feeling these energies that everyone's feeling. I'm like above it, kind of looking down at it. I'm beyond it. It's for my protection. I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I was a mess, you know, for feeling
right
and stuff. So
yeah. I think you hit on something very important, and it does seem to be, you know, I think there is a raised level of people becoming aware, certainly, of these things and these energies. But I think also because of that, there are a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, I'm going to jump into this, and maybe they'll take a course or they'll read something and feel like, okay, I can do this, without really looking into themselves and applying it to themselves, and that could have an adverse effect on, you know, kind of tapping into energies when you're not really knowing what you're doing, right? You know, that's an important thing I think people should understand. And I think it's great that, I mean, I personally am like in this community, so a lot of my friends are you know, teaching courses and doing things, and I have to be discerning, you know, on who I resonate with, right? I think that's important, and you know, I don't know where I was really even going with this, but I'm just thinking about my own experience, and there are definitely people who are doing stuff where I don't necessarily feel it, and people who I do resonate with, and I think that's what's happening, is people are finding the people that are on their frequency, right? Your vibe attracts your tribe, kind of thing. I think I'm seeing that all around, and I see a bunch of people piling in. So I just want to acknowledge Ellen. What's up, Ellen? I don't usually see you around here. Good to see you. And Josh Battles, JE, is here too. One of my recent guests. We had a great conversation. So thank you guys for showing up. So I still want to know, like, when did you know, like you said, you knew you were always interested, but when did you know that you had something to offer? I mean, I know you said we talked about this when we worked together, that, you know, you would read people and you would kind of be like, did you feel something? And they would say they did, and you'd be surprised. I experienced that in a class. I was taking an Akashic Records reading class, learning how to read the Akashic Records, and I was, again, like, I knew it was there. I knew it was something, but I wasn't experiencing it the way other people were. And part of that class is practicing on each other.
Right.
And I did some readings for people, and they were just like blown away. And I'm just like, I don't know what just happened. Like, like, and they're like, well, you told me what I needed to hear. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow. And so again, I just, I'm so grateful to be surrounded by that, in so many people. And then kind of, just by exploring it, kind of also expanding it, right? Expanding its existence, its awareness to different people. So anyway, back to you, which is, when did you realize that you, like, what was the big, like, this is real, I have this?
So it happened, like I said, later in life for me. Like I started doing this so when I was 50, I'm 56 now. So I've been doing it for 6 years in this lifetime. That's the thing. I was a healer in many, many, many past lives. Like so back to so I started doing the one-on-ones, and people like, oh my God, I'm like, what is going on? I didn't know I had any gifts at that time. And this, I was, like I said, later in life. And then,
but you knew you felt something because you kept doing it. It felt,
yeah.
it felt right. It felt good, right?
I was doing my thing over here, and they were like, oh my God. I'm like, so yeah, and that fed me. Their feedback fed me. To this day, it still does. I mean, I love people. I just want to help everybody and heal the world. So, but it's just, so then I finished the course. I always hated school. Most in past, they know it's a bunch of baloney, and we've been lied to about everything. But so this, I was interested. I'm like, I literally like graduated. I was like the valedictorian of my angel course. And I was the most successful because I ended up, one of my friends from Montauk, she had a huge following online, and I did a free healing for her. I'm like, let me try this. She's like, oh my God, that was amazing. I got to tell everybody. I'm like, whoa, hold on. I'm like, I got to set up my Facebook and my PayPal and everything. So I did, and we launched it, and I worked on 100 people in 30 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what started it off. And back then it was just, I did some chakra stuff and just like some basic stuff, but everyone loved it. They were like, oh my God. And then over the years, I just get ideas, stuff like literally drops in my lap, like channel, it's channeled messages, but I'm a knowing. I am not, which makes it more powerful because I'm doing it on trusting and having faith and just doing my thing. I'm just like doing it over here. And so where was I going with that? Oh my God.
I'm like you. I get so excited talking about this stuff,
right. So then it kept growing. Yeah, ideas would just drop in my lap, and I just, let me try this. So I have a group of people from my community that I try my stuff out with. I'm like, I got a new idea. Let me try it out. And they're like, oh my God, I saw this. This happened and that happened. I'm like, all right, well, then it definitely works, especially like right now, parasites are my huge thing. If people knew how infested with parasites they are, they're the root cause of most issues, joint pain. I mean, I'm doing a program right now, an energetic weight release program. I'm releasing parasites, and their sugar cravings are gone like instantly. They're bloating, all their issues as I release. And my friends literally see them squealing and screaming and going to the light as I am releasing them. And they've told me they fear the frequency of my voice. The parasites fear the frequency of my voice and leave, and are like, oh, we have to leave and go to the light. Like that's how. And that's why what I do still to this day, I have a few friends that are mediums, even working with Grace. Like the messages that I get from these people confirms what I'm doing and who I am and why I'm here. And at this time I'm like at the top of the mountain, like pulling everybody up to like raise their frequency, raise their vibration, let go of this stuff easily. And, I'm releasing sexual trauma, sexual abuse that is rampant in the world, as most of us in this community, with the trafficking and everything. No one's escaped sexual abuse, and that is a huge, huge issue. So I've just created this new thing, releasing that in the profound, talk about profound instant. I mean, they feel it, just a lightness and a release, and such huge shifts. no, this stuff, it's quantum healing. It's at a different level. Like I created it. It's all a God-given gift. I didn't learn this from any humans. Like, it's just literally, I just get these
Right.
ideas and I go with it. And it took me a long time, like that self-doubt and that imposter syndrome they always talk about with healers and stuff. Like, I'd take like 10 steps forward and like 3 back. I'm like, am I
right.
I'm like, it's such an emotional roller coaster ride. But at this point, I'm pretty confident what I'm doing is.
So explain that a little bit, if you don't mind. Like, so you said you come up with ideas, right? So are these, so to me, a lot of times, psychic work and some of this this energy work even is there's this likeness to therapy, right, for me. So is it like questions, or what is it, what are the ideas, and how do you apply them, how do you articulate them?
So I'll see stuff, like I'll see a documentary or something that they were talking about stem cells or something. They were pulling them out of the thing and I'm like, oh, I could do that energetically. I'll just tell them to leave the body or move them to where they need to go. Tell them to go. Like, I ask the body, liver, are you happy? No. Why? Some heavy metals. I pull out the heavy metals. Like, I use my pendulum. That's how I communicate. I ask questions, my pendulum. And but then I have the power to do something about it. Like, I get the information. I pull out heavy metals. Glyphosate is huge. The pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, that's huge. They're targeting, there's an evil agenda to keep us enslaved and not connecting to the divine and keep us sick and buying big pharma. A lot of what I do is very medical, and I'm very against big pharma and the drugs, because I know, all the side effects. I know plant medicine, God gave us everything we need, Mother Earth, every drug is a synthetic version of the plant medicine, dandelions and that they tell us our weeds are very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I do is very, very medical. Like, people literally feel their blood's whooshing faster as I'm releasing the heavy metals from their blood. Like, that's how their bloating's down from releasing the parasites and all these toxins. And I'll see stuff. And I'm like, I can do that energetically. I'll just ask it to go to the light. Like,
Wow, that's amazing. No, and that's what I was talking about when I said profound, these profound reactions that you have, people, experiencing these things with you. I'm fascinated by that. And I can feel in what you're saying, like, I'm big on a lot of these spiritual concepts, right? So intention is a big one, right? And it just sounds like you've got this connection with intention of, oh, I can just do that, because you're so connected with the idea of all I have to do is will it, right? Almost like just think it,
command it too. That, like, and I used to not say it with all the power behind, because I'm like, am I the doubt? Years ago, the doubt. Am I real? Like, I'm commanding this God. Like, is this really working? And then I work with my angel friends. They're like, oh my God, I literally saw the parasites screaming and squealing and going to the light. I'm like, so then that command, it is commanded that all parasite, like, now there's more power behind my words, and my words are extremely, they're spelling or spells and words are extremely powerful. So my choice of words and how I say them and how I command it, it's like it has to happen if I command it. Like, that's how crazy it is right now.
No, I listen, I totally get it 100%. Like I said, there's nothing crazy here. And my brain is also going right now because of something that I said earlier. And I don't know if I've ever really done this in the show. And kind of, I'm very curious about this idea that I just brought up, which is, and that you bring up and you subscribe to too, which is the power of words and the power of thoughts, right? So, and then I brought up the idea of the connection between spirituality and critical thinking, right? So you seem to be very passionate about ideas that I also explore, and again, I'm thinking about my words so carefully how I say this, but so the idea that there are things that have been done intentionally to keep us disconnected from our spiritual abilities. Those ideas, right? I don't want to get specific. I'm very intentionally kind of trying to talk about this with you. You have those ideas and thoughts, and I do too, right? And is that possibly giving that energy? Is it possibly contributing? Or like, what do we do if we have those thoughts and we want to not, I think it's important to have those thoughts if they exist, right? But as spiritual people, I think we want to connect to the love energy, right? We want to connect to the love vibration. So do you understand what I'm saying? What are your thoughts so far?
Well, it's awareness. Like, okay, we know there is evil on the planet that is trying to control, and there is horrible things happening in the world, but that it was hidden. You know, they've been doing it in the dark. Now dark comes to light and it loses its power. Like, I worked with somebody the other day. They had a deep, dark secret from 40 years ago, and she spoke it, told me this secret she had, something happened to her when she was 14, and it loses its power once it's brought to light. It's like the weight of this thing that she's been hanging on to for 40 years has just gone. And it's kind of the darkness, the evil. We know what's happening. It's awareness, and I transmute it to light. Like, I'm releasing the evil, the demons. People, let me tell you, depression, I release entities, evil spirits, disembodied spirits, demons from people every day, and they instantly feel a sense of peace. Like, the demons control us. You know, they attach. When you drop down to worry, fear, stress, anxiety, you attract the dark energies, and it's real. It's very real. And I release those, and instantly, just from that, people feel better. And
yeah, you know what? And that makes sense what you're saying. I feel like, okay, because I've been kind of navigating this idea, right, of if I'm pursuing this critical thought about conspiracy theories and things that are so horrible, am I giving into the fear of it by just thinking about it? But what you're saying makes sense, that you're a light worker, so you're bringing it to the light. You're bringing the darkness to the light
and you're not in a place of fear. You're in a place of, like, I fight evil every day and win. Like, I am battle. I literally fight evil every day and win. Clearing toxins, clearing the stuff, clearing the demons, sending them to the light. Like, so I work with this little boy who's autistic, and because I believe that it's just heavy metals, toxins in the womb, a lot of toxins in the world. And I have proof, because he's changed substantially since I started working with him by releasing. He's nonverbal, but he types. He's extremely intelligent. It's amazing. And at school, the teachers think he's nonverbal, and because he doesn't type at school.
Right.
And he runs around screaming. The reason he's run around screaming is because he's being chased by demons, and they think he's a severe case of autism. But we have proof, because the second I release the demons and send him to the light, he's perfectly
his
fine.
behavior changes immediately.
And he'll type. The bad guys are here. These kids that are autistic are extremely connected and spiritual. They are all, and they're being affected by the heavy metals and the poisons even more.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I've discussed that before, that the whole, I love the idea of, they describe it as somebody who's on the spectrum, right? I love that idea, because I agree with you. It's like, well, the spectrum, right, is we can only see a certain spectrum of color, but there's ultraviolet light and infrared light outside of that spectrum that we can see. And that's what I feel like autistic people are sensitive to. They can see things on the spectrum of frequencies that we can't. Right. So I love that they say that, because I feel like, oh, that makes sense. It's makes a lot of sense.
The other thing, the spirit is out of body. Like, the souls, they're like, this planet sucks. Like, you guys need to get your act together. And so many souls are outside. They're not embodied, 100% embodied and grounded. So I worked with another older boy, and he had tremors. The minute I put his spirit back in his body, the tremors stopped.
Wow.
Instantly.
Amazing.
Like, and Jack too, the minute I put his spirit back in the body, the first time I worked with him, immediate eye contact. Before he was like, he couldn't
Right.
no eye contact. The minute I
That's
put his spirit
amazing.
back in his body, boom. It's
So cool.
amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Really, really good stuff. And like such validation for you and the people around you to see and be like, wait a second, something, we know what this person's behavior is like usually, and we see this effect. I see Hat is saying, Brian Scott, the reality revolution just addressed this in an episode called The Mind Wars, how psyops secretly shape your reality. And again, that's, it's interesting because I've always really tried to keep this show very upbeat and happy and all about love, but the connection is growing to I've started to change my perception to what you just said. Like, wait a second, maybe there does need to be some more light cast on some of these things so that people who aren't seeing them can. And I don't want to approach that with like an arrogance, but I do want to have those conversations. You know what I mean? I do. I think it is really important. And Tim is saying there's many ways your thoughts and intentions can shape your reality. Knowing the ways to utilize them positively is the key. Agreed, 1,000,000%. And I've been having that same conversation with a few different friends of mine who I can talk to openly, and saying that, I have been experiencing adverse situations, right? Like arguments with friends that I'm close with, or differences or whatever, and these situations, and feeling good about navigating them and just coming out the other side, with whatever resolution happens. But just being like, that was an experience that wasn't good or bad. You know what I mean? It was just, starting to be aware of the way that works, the way that energy works. Like, there is no good or bad, really, right? It's all good. And just being able
Everything's a
to,
lesson. We're here in Earth School trying to figure it all out, and
right.
we learn it. We have to come back and learn it again. And this time, it's all about stepping into your power, and don't play the victim. You step into the power and be like, all right, make changes in the right way.
That's right. And Hat is saying it's the emotional attachment that gives it the energy. Detach and be aware. So still be aware of it, but just being aware of it isn't necessarily giving it energy, right? So I think that's what she's saying. So thank you guys, and thank you, Debbie, for kind of just letting me talk that through and feel better about it. I have been really, like I said, I've been feeling so good lately, which is crazy because I am even more aware of the crazy energy that's out there. When you go out, like when you go driving on the LIE and you see people like driving like insane maniacs, just like, you're just like, what the hell is going on out there, right? And even like the news, I haven't really watched the news in so many years because of, the intentions behind it, right? But when you do catch the news these days, sometimes it's like the stuff that's going on out there, the people have just lost their freaking minds.
It's the fear, it's the agenda.
News, absolutely.
I haven't put the TV on in 3 years. I just, it's fear. There's never anything good on the news. They want to keep us in a low vibration. It's about keeping us enslaved and in a low vibration and sad and depressed and taking meds and antidepressants, and
so let me throw in a curveball to this conversation and ask you what your thoughts are about April 8th.
Oh, the big April. Oh my God. I know there's so many crazy things. And my friend, right before we got on, she messaged me. She was like, what do you think about April 8th? I said, you know what? I don't know. I'm just going to like detach from it, and just whatever happens. I'm going to stay in a high vibration, and just, there's so much fear porn going on, and like the world's going to end and then nothing. I don't know. I do follow a few tarot readers that pulled cards on it and didn't get anything like terrible going to happen. I mean, the market probably things are going to crash. And
I mean, I think, again, a lot of let's just keep it kind of vague for a second. A lot of the spiritual community is like, it's going to get good, but it's going to get worse before it gets better, right? Like it's going to get better, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. I've been listening to, and I've mentioned him before, Alex Ferrari, Next Level Soul podcast, which if you don't know his podcast, he has some amazing. I'm so envious of the guests that he has, and the conversations are so important and so amazing. But the last few that I've been watching specifically about the eclipse are really positive, right? And one of the things that I heard was that the cycle, right, of the astrological cycle that creates these eclipses is every time that there is one of these events, it raises the vibration of the earth just a little bit.
Right.
So that I'm liking to subscribe to that belief, and it kind of makes sense as I see it like as a big astrological clock, right? And so these cycles, and it's almost like I don't know if you're familiar with the idea of the spiral, right? But the spiral, not just on a 2D, but kind of going up. So the spiral is like you're still going cyclical, but you're ascending. So there's this ascension to it. You're the raising of the vibration. And I don't know, when somebody said that on one of his podcasts, I was like, oh, that makes sense to me.
Well, the Schumann resonance, the the energy of the earth, things that's going off the charts, things are happening that have never ever happened before, and it's just like we know, ascension, the Great Awakening, people are opening, they're waking up to what's really going on, and that we are a slave planet. We've been enslaved, and we're not taking it anymore. We're waking up.
Right. Well, you know what? Even in the midst of the things that are going on, I find myself very excited every day. Like I used to be like, something's gonna happen any day. I know it's gonna happen any day, and there was like this. I wasn't excited, right? But I've changed. I've been able to change that, and I am excited. I think that for people who want it to get better, it's going to get better. You know what I mean? Even if it gets worse before it gets better, I think the idea is that we'll all come out learning how to connect to the source and each other more somehow. That's what I believe. And Grace is saying time to level up. I thought I saw.
You have to release. You have to let go of things so you can make room for expansion, and we have to let go of these old traumas and the childhood trauma and all this stuck energy in our bodies of trapped emotions, like anger and frustration. It's like balls of energy in the body that cause dis-ease in the body. So like I release those, and the energy field, just the toxins, and just letting more light in, and there's light codes coming in, and our cells are changing, the DNA is changing. There's so much, but it's this work. Like I'm on the fast track. I'm like, we don't have time to mess around. We got to get this done fast. So that's why I like this new sexual trauma thing that I did. It, present life, past lives, future lives, ancestral lines, mother side, father side, like get it all going. We were lied to. We never knew we didn't have to carry the trauma of all our ancestors forever on both sides. We're carrying all this weight, and we didn't know we could release it easily.
Right. So something interesting that I heard, you know what? I'm having so much fun with this conversation because it keeps poking little things in my brain. But something that I heard recently made me think of an experience I had with generational trauma. And that was just, it was just through, I think I was just kind of meditating, and it was through deep thought about my relationship with my father, and kind of the dynamic that I had with my father. And I just came to this realization about that dynamic that allowed me to see how much love was there, right? And it wasn't like I grew up, it wasn't like we had an estranged relationship or a bad relationship. I just wasn't super close. My brother was closer with my dad, but anyway, it was just this realization about the love that was there, and this overwhelming feeling of healing, right? Like, oh my God, my father does love me. I do love my father. I'm just really simplifying it, right? So that it makes sense. But besides what I felt overwhelming me, I felt my father heal. And he's passed. And I was like, what was that? You know what I mean? I was like, that like I never even thought about that, you know, healing myself on this side, and the 3D was also healing
Right.
whatever he had on the other side, which I guess I don't want to even get into what I think about that, but but like I felt that. So on a bigger level, as a human race, right? That's, I think, part of what's happening with this awakening, right? Is we're
Right. Yeah.
healing ancestral trauma.
Well, and it's very cyclical too. Like his father probably had the same, he probably had the same relationship. So that's how he
Mhm.
was doing the best he knew how, because he didn't receive the love from his father and the father.
Absolutely.
So it's like we break the cycle. We're like, it stops here. And our ancestors are cheering us on. Like finally somebody's doing the hard work and like resolving this trauma and this love
Right.
unreceived. Like we're so sensitive. We just want to be loved and if we're not, then things start going awry. So but it's very sick. His father,
Yeah.
like he did the
I
best
think
he
that
knew
was,
how.
yeah, I think that was part of the thought process in my meditation too, was like that forgiveness was like, wait a second, he was doing the best he could, you know what I mean? Like, and so was my grandfather, and like just kind of that forgiveness going down the line. It was just an amazing experience. What's up,
Yeah,
Jesse
that
Howe?
karma.
I see Jesse Howe from the Missing Link podcast, another great podcast out there, especially with critical thinking. He's amazing. So what's up? It's always nice to see him come pay a visit. So okay, so there's this mix of the metaphysical kind of healing powers that you're connected to, and also this critical thinking, right? Because that is what you said inspired you to look at things like the parasites, and that is connected to the food that we're eating and everything. That's like all of these things.
The
Yeah, all of
chemtrails.
these things. I think it's funny because again, here I go on another shoot off, but like I feel like some of the problems that we're facing and the challenges that we're facing now actually began with the Industrial Revolution, right? Because the
Oh,
Industrial Revolution is what made everything easier. We are so disconnected from our food, right? We just go to this place that everything's there, and we're like, oh, I want one of these, one of these, one of these, you know what I mean? And we're so disconnected from that. And I feel like that's where this started, right? And we're so far down the road now from even that.
well, and even with the fruits and vegetables, they're spraying the crops with glyphosate. You think
Mhm,
you're eating, oh, I'm going to have a tomato, but it's covered in, an apple covered in glyphosate. We're getting these
mhm.
pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, and then the soil's so depleted. So we're not getting the nutrients we're so depleted in vegetables. I mean,
Mhm.
vitamins, minerals,
Right.
everything, because and then all the preservatives in the food, and it's just, it's amazing we're all still alive, because it just shows how amazing the body really is, and it can heal itself. And I always
Mhm,
say, like,
mhm.
we can grow a human being inside our bodies. Of course it can heal itself. Like, of course we just
Right, how amazing is that?
exactly.
So you know what, let's see if we can turn this around a little bit, right? So again, I try to keep the show light.
Like that.
um is there, no pun intended, um is there, well, wait, maybe I did intend that pun. Is there maybe an exercise, or like a breathing exercise, or do you have any advice on diet, or something that we can easily do, without like one, like as a sales tool for yourself, right? To make somebody interested in, oh, this lady knows what she's talking about. I want to contact her, because that's what I want to do with the show too, is I want people to connect to people that they feel drawn to, right? Oh, that woman was talking about something that, so anyway, so back to, is there a breathing exercise that you want to share with us that we can do easily together, or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things, like literally taking 3 deep breaths. Like we're always in fight or flight. We're taking those shallow breaths. Our bodies are constantly like, oh my God, are we going to get attacked by a lion? Like, so taking 3 deep breaths, just in your nose, just resetting your body. Your cells are like, oh, like we can chill out for a minute. Or you're like, because nobody does it, right? Everyone's like
Right.
rushing in those shallow breaths. So 3 deep breaths, simple 3 deep breaths, literally going outside, barefoot in the grass, connecting with the earth. It really reduces inflammation. There's all sorts of studies that the ions and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
that's huge. you know, you can bless your food. You can, I don't know if you've ever seen that Emoto, what's his name? Emoto. He
Yep.
talks to the water. He changes the structure of the water by sending love to the water. And, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
there's so many things that, and that's crazy, right? Some people would say that aren't in this community, but it's
You know
really,
what? I'm gonna admit something to you right now. I have been doing this, and I have been, as I'm doing it, I'm like, am I crazy? And that is this. With my water, I have lemon in my water usually, and ginger
yeah.
if I can. And I'm
Oh,
always
yeah.
like this. I always do this. I say, I love you.
I'm telling you, and talk to your body. Your cells are, there's a consciousness. So there was somebody got a heart transplant, and you know, I don't know the whole details of the story, but anyway, they started craving like KFC and these crazy foods, and come to find out the person that they got the heart from had those were his favorite things, this kid.
Wow.
So it's in a book. I think it's Dispenza, or I don't know the details, but the point is that our organs have a consciousness. Like there was a memory,
Hmm.
and the lungs. So you can speak to your body, like liver,
Hmm.
thank you so much for working so hard,
Hmm.
keeping me healthy and alive. Like talk to your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidneys. Like there's a whole universe within your body. It's really truly amazing when you think about like what is happening all day, every day with, you know, nothing just by itself, just this whole system. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I was
it is
always like
crazy.
the one that like I turn on the light switch and go, I need to know how, like I want to know more how that light went on.
What
Like
just happened? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I need to know more. Or like I just like to research things. And but now I know so much about the body. People after a session with me, they're like, do you have a medical background? I'm like, no, I just need to know like how the body works. And it's just so interesting to me. And
Totally.
you know,
And I love that was, you know, I asked for like, do you have a simple breathing exercise? And you just said 3 simple breaths. That's my favorite, because it's this like, you don't need anything. You don't need to have any money. You don't need
free,
to be,
exactly.
you don't need to be anywhere specific. Like you could do it anywhere. It's the simplest thing. I actually would love for you to lead us through some 3 simple breaths. But before you do that, if you agree, um, Brian, the guy I was talking about earlier. So Brian gave us a simple trip. It's like a I forget what it's called, but it's a pressure thing, and you just basically grabbing your thumb. There's each one of your fingers is a different center, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, immediately when I do it, and I just do it, and I just think about it, it's like, wow, I can feel how that's immediately brought this calm over me, and this sense, you know. And it's such simple stuff that we don't do.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say, like meditating. Like everyone puts so much pressure on their side. Like, I got to meditate for an hour. No, you need like 2 minutes. Set the alarm on your phone for 2 minutes. Just close your eyes, center yourself. Just, you know, some people have that monkey mind and they're like, oh, I got to do laundry. Like, just start with 1 minute, you know, like 30, whatever. Just, it doesn't have to be formal. Just like take that moment and just quiet yourself and connect, you know, and then maybe add a little, but it's, you know, we want to make it so complicated. And the angels and guides, we do all have guardian angels and and guides that are all around us, and they can't step in unless we ask. So they're all like, ask me. And it doesn't have to be formally. It can be, come on, guys, help me out today. I'm just like talking to them like they're your friend. Like as you drive into a meeting, like I need some help here. I gotta, you know.
Well, you know, again, like it's just a matter of like, oh, wait a second, I remember 3 simple breaths, right? Like it's just like, that is, for me, that is such a, I don't know. Like I said, will you lead us through that? Can you like
Yeah, I
lead us
can.
through a 3 simple breath thing? Just
Okay.
because I feel like I like being led through that, because it's almost like, wait a second, this is simple. It's not going to be difficult to do. I can
Right.
just follow along, and then immediately you feel it. And that's what I
Right.
love. Immediately you feel it.
Okay. All right. So close your eyes.
Yep.
Take a breath. Just drop your shoulders. Release some stress. So take a breath in your nose, out your mouth. Again, inhale, exhale. One more time in your nose. Exhale. Just connecting, drop into your body, connecting to the earth, sinking into your body, calming, cooling, healing energy, sending calming, cooling, healing energy to everyone.
Wow, I love how simple that is. Like it really, it's so simple, and it's just,
It is.
you know, I think for me, I don't. Do you know Steven Durante?
No.
So Steve's local on Long Island here, I
Oh,
think. And he was one of my first. He's a good friend of mine, and he got into meditation, and so he was one of the first people who was like a guided meditation coach for me. And he would talk about things before the meditation that really brought a lot of introspection and light to as to what we were doing, and that was the idea of being on this hamster wheel all the time, right? Constantly in your mind, in your thoughts. I've got to answer the next email, I've got this to do and this to do and this to do, and you're constantly running. And again, it's just taking a moment to intentionally just hop off that hamster wheel, right? And just you could even watch the hamster wheel spin and say, oh, there goes those emails that I'm supposed to do. I'll take care of that later, you know.
well, and the other thing is the whole thing with the oxygen mask on the plane, right? Everyone, moms and everything, it's about the kids, and they're running around, and you can't, an empty cup. What's the saying with the empty cup? You can't pour from an empty cup, right? So
Right.
then you're going to get sick. I mean, you have to take care. Nobody wants self-care. They put themselves last. You gotta, self-care is really important. And, so many people don't do it, and then they end up sick, and, it's
Exactly.
crazy.
Exactly. I want to thank Pauser out there who's looking out for me. She says 6 people are watching on YouTube and only 1 person liked it. Come on, you slackers. I don't like to yell at my audience, but my audience will yell at my audience for me. So, but it's true. Listen, I love you guys. You know it. The guys who come back, guys and ladies, people who come back every week. And really, just if you just hit that like button on YouTube or the thumbs up or whatever on Facebook, that'll help. And I know you guys like being here, so I appreciate Hat Pauser looking out for me. And I'm hoping to really grow this community, and I totally appreciate you coming on and sharing your time and your energy and your knowledge. It's really great. I love Grace Grella introducing us. Just again, the community, it grows slowly but surely. Diane Hutchnick, who I don't know if you're watching, was the Empowered Path things, and she reached out to ask me to talk about doing this, and people who are healers to create their own live streams and create their own programs where they get to talk about what they love. And I'm really honored and excited to be doing that. I'll be talking about that more. I'll be promoting it to you guys when it gets closer. It's in May. But yeah, I mean, again, thank you for coming on. I love doing this. I love being able to share. Yeah, I love sharing this stuff with people and connecting with you. Before I put you back in the green room, do you have any words of love, words of advice, words of wisdom for my audience? Or
yeah, it's really important right now to raise your vibration, release what no longer serves you, really work on getting rid of the childhood trauma. And we're here in Earth School, and we've been through some hard stuff, and if you hold on to it, it's just going to make you sick. You have to just let it go. It could be some horrific stuff, but it's just that karmic wheel is going to keep going, and it's just not going to serve you. So you have to, as hard as it may be, you just got to let the stuff go and raise your vibration. It's either worry, fear, stress, anxiety, or peace, love, happiness, and joy. And you're a vibrational match for things. So
it seems so obvious, right? Like you got 2 choices: raise your vibration or don't. Which one are you gonna do? It seems so obvious.
And I can help you with it to fast track it if
absolutely. Oh, you know what? I feel bad. I had a banner for your website. If people want to get in touch with you or learn more about you, you can check out Debbie at cardinalhealings.com. I'm going to actually even hold on. I'm going to bring it up on the window on the screen for a second, just because I forgot to bring it up, and I want to give it some. I'm going to give it some extra love because it wasn't showing the whole time. But this is where you can see Deb's stuff. You can book a session with her. You can learn more about her. Again, Deb, thank you so much for being with me. I look forward to seeing you again out in the ether, and and we will talk to you soon. Let me say goodbye to my audience.
Thank you so much.
And don't go away because I want to talk to you after I sign off.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh God. Whew. I love what I do. This is so great. I hope you guys enjoy it. I feel like you do. Especially the 5 or 6 of you that have been here since the beginning and always come back. You know how much I appreciate you guys. Next week, do I have a guest lined up for next week? I do. Thank you, Ninja Kitty. Next week is George. You guys remember George? He is the oh my God, how could I forget his last name? George he's got the podcast where he talks about psychedelics. He's all into psychedelics and his connection and how that connected him to his meaning and his source and all of that stuff. And we're going to be talking to him. Can I put these up? Yes. Obrigado. Pauser. Thank you. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. I will talk to you next week. Peace out.